this episode, I learn it is okay to get high off your own supply. Ashley Orr, canna friend and cold therapy guide trained by Wim Hof, the Iceman himself, shares her practices and guides me through my first breathwork session and ice plunge. Could you tell me a little bit about what is involved in your health and wellness practices?
Yeah, for sure. I think, as you said, we're entering a world in a time of evolution right now, and I think a lot of us are waking up. That's what kind of brought me to what I do now, just holistic healing, finding ways to tap into our natural systems with breath, the cold. That's how I practice with the Wim Hof method. I also teach people about cannabis. I'm very passionate about using plant medicine, natural modalities to tap and optimize human being.
One of the first things that kind of brought me into cannabis deeply with a deep interest was the ability to kind of find flow state. With Wim Hof, how did you come to know about it?
Yeah, Wim Hof is actually a really popular name right now. In the media, a lot of celebrities are giving him a lot of attention, a lot of athletes. There's about 12 of us that teach the method in Canada, and it's based on 3 pillars. So we dive into our physiology using breath, the cold, and mindset and commitment.
So with cold work, what does that look like to someone that's venturing into cold work under the Wim Hof method?
Cold work can be gradual, so you can start with taking your coat off in the winter. You can take your shoes off, go for a quick brisk walk, activate your receptors in your feet, because we have so many of those. That'll really wake you up in the morning. Maybe wearing light clothing. We're really apt to staying at the same temperature. We go into our cars, we turn on the air conditioning, we turn up the heat if it's cold. So our bodies are never really working. What we're doing is constantly adapting to the climate, and we're not using the climate as a tool for health. So what we're doing is actually changing the way we respond to stress and adapting and strengthening our adaptive mechanisms. We're constantly being bombarded with messages on email, constant phone calls, conflicts, high stress situations.
The new world around us.
Absolutely.
It's a new problem. It's a new thing to have to deal with.
We're so connected and just available at every time. We never really have the chance to tune in and tap out.
Do you find it interesting that in a time of technological advancement that is perhaps part of the cause of this stress, at least the intensity of it, that the almost kind of basic and foundational ideas of cold and the environment around us and breath are the things that could possibly bring us
back?
Yeah.
I think we need to go back to basics. I think technology, it advances quickly. Sometimes we're not prepared for it. Now we're dealing with depression, blue screens. We're addicted to our phones.
So for me, coming from more of a cannabis background and new to breathing and cold exposure and other Wim Hof practices, something I've always enjoyed about cannabis was the ability to kind of add on to an activity I already have. So to change maybe the way I'm boxing or having a workout.
Absolutely.
Or a conversation with people. What is your practices like now that you have these breathing techniques and cold techniques and mentality techniques in your toolkit? How do you structure maybe like your day for like a regular, I'll say, activity or Wim Hof process?
So I combine all my favorite things in the morning. So first I'll wake up and I'll medicate. Then I'll take my next step and I'll start breathing. So I monopolize on the highs. I'm getting high twice before noon.
How do you consume the cannabis normally?
So I take CBD oil.
Okay.
That really helps with inflammation. I'm running a lot. I'm very active. Also, it helps with anxiety.
So normally an isolated CBD.
Full spectrum, yeah.
Full spectrum, exactly. There's another topic of conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. That's
The whole plant, you're getting the entire experience, right?
Yeah.
Wholeness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And now what is that?
Wim Hof breathing. So then I get high off my breath.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you go for it.
Then I get high twice. Then I follow up. Wim Hof breathing also helps with my running, so it turns my body alkaline. I change my pH, and then I dull my pain receptors. So I go out running in my shorts, especially if it's winter. I love that. I'm doing some cold exposure, and then I'm hitting that runner's high.
Isn't there a saying that is in the Wim Hof community a little bit? You can get high on your own supply?
Get high off your own supply. Yeah.
Yes, this is cold exposure. So right now we're just gonna prepare the tank, or as I like to call it, school.
It already kind of feels like cold exposure out here in the winter in Canada.
Well, next we are going to go into our horse stance. Okay, so what we're doing is we're igniting our biggest muscles in our bodies because it's going to create the most heat. And then we're working up our intercostal muscles, warming up our body, and preparing us to go into the tank. So some benefits of cold exposure: you're going to increase your brown fat, which means that you're going to have an easier time with weight loss. You also find homeostasis in your hormones, strengthen your immune system, and you're gonna have some better sleep and more energy.
Great.
Sounds good?
Yeah, I could use all those things.
Okay, sweet. So wherever you're ready, we'll go ahead, unrope, and then we can get you in the tub.
Here we go.
And we are going to time for 2 minutes and 20 seconds is how long you're going to stay in the tub. That's how long first participants go for. And now when you're going into the tub, I want you to remember that the longer your exhale is than your inhale, you're staying in a parasympathetic state. So that's gonna relax you. You might feel like you want to breathe shallow when you first get in the tub. Okay, I just want you to calm your breath down. After the first minute or so, you will find calmness in the tank. All right, and the biggest teacher is don't fight it, just flow.
Cool.
Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Your body in. Great job, and we're just lowering our bodies in now. And extending our exhales. Great job, nice long exhales. Sometimes it helps if you focus on something, like the rubber ducky or a piece of ice, and just start sending your breath there. The cold is first going to show up in any areas you may have some inflammation.
Oh, I can feel it on my back.
If you're so inclined, just go ahead and try and sink a little deeper inside the tank. You're already on a minute 12. About now, you should be calming down a little, control of your breath. Don't forget you're taking the same training as the Navy SEALs. You will reach therapeutic levels of physical benefits by 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And then the rest is simply mindset training. And you've hit 220.
Wow. I can feel my body, but it doesn't feel like my body. It feels like I have my head, and then there's just maybe it's just an ice cube. But I'm definitely settled into it. It still feels cold. I'm aware that it's cold, but I don't want to fight. I don't need to fight it as much.
Right.
Is there an upper limit?
I mean, I wouldn't go more than 3 minutes on my first plunge. You
want to respect the practice, go into cold exposure very gradually.
It was wild how my back started to hurt exactly where I've been having back pain lately. That was nuts. Whoa. Whoa.
So just be really gentle to yourself when you're stepping out. It is slippery. And then to start warming up, working the circulatory system, we want to go right back into your horse stance. You can do that as long as you want. You can go it.
I see people doing this in the park.
You get it now.
I get
It
it.
makes sense.
Oh. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel fine. Kind of feel like surprisingly okay. I'm gonna robe up now.
Yeah.
I feel satisfied. I feel cold. I have also never felt more Canadian than I do right now.